A while back now, I picked up an Apple II clone on eBay, listed as unknown condition, parts only, or words to that effect. So back then I popped it open, checked the power supply for obvious issues, checked the output voltages, and I could successfully power up the machine. But the machine was a bit of a mess. The case was very yellowed for one, and it needed a good overall clean. So I pulled it all down and made a start, but that was about the time I ran out of room in my office/workshop. So everything got put on hold for probably 5 or 6 months while I built a new workshop to do this stuff. So that's pretty much where we'll pick up in this episode. So the main board in this Apple II Plus clone is marked Vectorio. So who or what is a Vectorio? Vectorio is the name printed on the main board of this Apple II clone, produced in Japan by Honda Computers, a little computer company operated by a US citizen by the name of Pete Perkins. This was back in the 80s, obviously. It reportedly sold in fairly small numbers, despite being half the price of a genuine Apple II. The logo on the board's also a bit of a laugh, what looks like a fat rat having eaten the apple down to the core. There's not much information available on the internet regarding Pete Perkins or Honda Computers. Most of what's around seems to stem from a 6-minute YouTube video from Thames Television, where the host of the TV show Database made a trip to Japan to interview Perkins. Perkins claims he didn't copy the Apple II since his looks different. Later in the video, he says it might be illegal, he just hasn't got caught yet. I did see claims online that he escaped being sued by Apple by selling the board without the ROMs, although I was unable to find any concrete evidence supporting this, and as we'll see a little bit later, that's probably unlikely anyway. I also saw a suggestion that he's still got sued for the video circuitry, which Apple patented. The story goes it was left unpopulated, but silkscreened, so there was no disputing that they were intending customers to fit their own components to finish the product. Couldn't find any supporting evidence for that either, so that could just be urban legend. Right, so I want to archive these ROMs, so let's just gently lift them out. And then we've got the character generator ROM. That out. Okay, so let's back up some ROMs. So first ROM is the character generator ROM. Put that in there. HN, I'm guessing it's Hitachi. And there are no 2732s from Hitachi. Let's just try a generic. We're only reading it, we're not programming it. Right, well that read okay. Well, it read. Let's see if it looks okay. See if there's anything recognisable in it. Oh, it's a character ROM, so there's not going to be anything earth-shattering in a character ROM. Save. Binary. So I'll save that as cg.bin. Right. Take the character generator out now. We'll go for D0 in the right way. And hopefully, when we read this one, we will get some text strings and things that we recognise. Just a bit of a sanity check that we're reading them properly. Yeah, there's some basic keywords and things, so I think we're reading that properly. Save. So this one is, what did we say it was? D0 ROM. So by backing these up, it just means I've got a copy of them if anything should happen to them, or even if someone else on the internet has one of these machines and happens to need the ROMs, I've got them. Right, so now I've got a copy of those. Okay, so now that we've backed those up, we will put them back in the board. So starting with F8, and goes around this way. It's in. F0. Is in. E8. E8 is that one. Yep. Just be really careful with these. I hate the idea of bending a pin and having to try and straighten it. Oops, upside down, Miss Jane. You were probably all screaming at me. D8. Is that one? Put this one around the right way. D8, D0, again around the right way. And the character generator ROM. CG ROM, pin 1 at that end. All right, and we're done. There's quite a few differences between the genuine Apple II Plus board and the Victorio board, as you can see in the image where they're side by side. There's a switch marked 10K plus 6K and 10K plus L, which selects which of the two Honda custom PALs is active. One PAL configures the inbuilt slot 0 as a 16K language card, and the other as an integer basic ROM card. The switch is located at D1 on the board, and the PALs are at C9. I have no idea what type of PAL they are, but I'd love to know so I can work out if there's any chance of deriving the logic that's contained within them, so they can be recreated if they ever break. I've Googled, but I'm coming up short on 16-pin PALs. If you know, drop a note in the comment section. The Victorio uses 4164 RAM chips, which only need a 5-volt power rail, unlike the 4116s of the original Apple II. They needed +5, -5, and +12. Not to mention the 4116s need 3 times as much board real estate. The space freed up by the use of 4164s is where some of the additional Victorio logic is located. The Victorio also uses 2732 ROMs, unlike the Apple II's original 2716. The lower 2K of each ROM is Apple Integer Basic, and the upper half is AppleSoft Basic. This is partly what makes me think that the board came with the ROMs. If they're half and half ROMs, 2x2K images in one 4K EEPROM, then these would seem to be quite an involved process for a new owner to source the images, merge them, and burn the EEPROMs, given the technology of the day. I thought the switch would switch between them, between the versions of BASIC, but I haven't been able to make that work, so presumably there's a different method of doing this switching. If you know, again, drop it in the comments. The board has an option ROM socket, although I've yet to work out how this works. I've been trying to find where the chip select pin on this ROM goes, as I suspect the answer to that will help unravel how it works. That was a quick look at the Vectorio's main board and the obvious differences between it and the original Apple II Plus. There's a few things I want to explore further, but they require a working keyboard, which, until I put it back together, I won't have. So that's what we'll be doing, at least in part, in the next video. Until next time, if you like what you saw, feel free to subscribe and click the like button. And if you know the answer to any of those hanging questions from the video, feel free to drop them in the comments, because I'd love to know.